On the agenda tonight, we're going back to earlier this year to take a look at Marty, Stuart, Vince Gill and Brad Paisley performing 6 Days on the Road. Hello, Phil here from Wings of Pegasus and welcome to another analysis video. If you enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. So just to give a bit of background to this video, it was the Grand Ole Opry that were doing the live stream at the beginning of lockdown earlier this year, and these three just got together, jammed out a few tunes. It's a really relaxed atmosphere as well, but there's some fantastic playing going on and singing. So let's get the guys up on screen and see how they get on. We'll listen to it all the way through and get into the analysis after.
Out of this, and I love these guys, and so the song, we're on the skids tonight. We have no idea basically what we're going to do, so hang on with us. Truck driving song.
Come on.
Let's start with it. Well, I pulled out of Pittsburgh, rolling down that eastern seaboard. Got my diesel wound up and she's a-running like I never before. There's a speed zone ahead, alright, but I don't see a cop in sight. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. Got me 10 forward gears and my Georgia overdrive. Taking little white pills and my eyes are open wide. I just passed a Jimmy in white, having a passing everything in sight. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. Come on, Brad. Well, it seems like a month since I kissed my baby goodbye.
Marty.
I could have a lot of women, but I'm not like some other guy. I could find one to hold me tight, but I could never make believe it's alright. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. Wear it out, Brad Paisley. Yeah. Yeah, like it, boy.
That is powerful, boy.
Something like that. Well, the ICC is a-checking on down the line. I'm a little overweight and my logbook's way behind. But nothing bothers me tonight. I can dodge all the scales, alright. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. Well, my rig's a little low, but that don't mean she's slow. There's a flame from her stack that's a-blowing black as coal. West Virginia coal, Brad. Well, my hometown's coming in sight. If you think I'm happy, you're right. 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. Well, 6 days on the road and I'm gonna make it home tonight. That's all I got.
All right.
And there we have it. What I love about this performance is the relaxed atmosphere, the way that they're interacting with each other while playing and singing. And you might have noticed the way that Vince calls out to Brad for the solo a verse too early because there's another verse to go, and Marty just gets into that verse and starts laughing because Vince says there's one more to go. He realizes his mistake. But this is the great thing about playing live. These kind of things happen, and when you've got top professionals like these three guys, even a mistake can be entertaining and fun because it's not going to put them off. They're just going to keep on playing, and then when it does come round to the solo, Brad's going to play through it, and Marty also is going to melt your face on the mandolin with his solo. And I also love the way that he just says after the solo, it's something like that. But it's such a high quality solo. From a rhythm perspective as well, you've got three guys here that are all just locking into the rhythm that Marty is starting up on the mandolin and then just sitting in that groove for the rest of the performance, entirely dependent on each other to keep it going, to stay in time, and to get the accent exactly right, the chord changes, but these guys know exactly what they're doing and just lock into the groove. When you've got top professionals, they will do that and just continue as long as they want to play. The link to this video is going to be in the description below, so you guys can watch the full live stream if you want to. It's an hour in duration, and there is plenty of great singing and playing going on. While mentioning the singing, great harmonies here from Vince and Brad, and great lead vocal from Marty. They've all got that instrumental ability as well as vocal ability. So when you stick these three guys together, you're always going to get something special. I do have independent videos on Marty, Vince and Brad. If you want to check those out, you can do. But with this video, I'd like to jump into the song, the progression, because it's one of those that you can certainly try at home, and it's just a couple of strings that you're going to be playing. In fact, this is one of the first things I ever learned to play, if not the first thing. I think before I even thought about playing guitar, I could just play these two strings and get it to sound like a blues. Obviously, I didn't do the playing that these guys are doing, so I'm going to take you guys through the rhythm work going on here. It's all relatively straightforward. Of course, the fills and the lead that these three guys are playing is a bit more involved and technical, but you should be able to have a go at playing along with this even if you haven't been playing for very long, because all that's happening is we're playing two strings at any one time and that's it. I'm also going to be referring to the shapes as if the capo is the bottom of the guitar, and you will need to have your capo on the 2nd fret here. Standard tuning, so that's all straightforward as well. Starting out, we've got our A, and you're placing your first finger on the 2nd fret of the D string, and you're just hitting those two strings like that. So you want to be quite controlled with that right hand with your pick. But we've got Marty starts out with so I'm playing the 4th fret with my 3rd finger, again, as if this is the bottom of the guitar, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you just want to play the A string and the D string, and you'll get that sound. When you go down to the 1st finger, you'll get that sound. And the riff, I'm now placing on my little finger as well, so a bit of a stretch, but we've got like that in order to get that whole riff down. Once we've got this, that kind of groove, that feel, you can just sit in there, and if you want to, you can apply a bit of palm mute as I'm doing. You especially want that if somebody's applying vocals, and you don't want the guitar competing for the limelight with the lead vocal. So just a little bit of palm mute, stick that palm of the right hand on the bridge and where it meets the string so that you can still hear the pitch of those strings. You don't want to be too far up because then you'll just lose the pitch altogether. They'll be totally dead. But as you slide down, you'll find that sweet spot. So we've got this. An important thing to mention here is the timing and where we make our chord changes, because they're happening on 4 and. So to give an example of that, if we were just doing straight chord changes here, we'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. And you're always waiting for 1. Whereas here, we're going on 4 and. So if I'm going, I'll slow it down a bit, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2. you can hear how I'm changing on and. So it gives it a little bit more liveliness, and it's going to take you a little bit by surprise. So I'm going to play through the progression just once, because it's going to be the same progression the whole time, all the way through the song, under the solos as well, and it's going to be the same motions on the guitar as well. Just move it to the appropriate string, depending on whether you want to be playing an A, an E, or a D. So jumping into it, I'll call out the chords as well as we change. We've got A, E, A. Stay on the A, E, D, E, A, D, A, E, A. And then you'll just repeat and repeat until the end of the song. Something that I want to look at is the way that Brad follows the chords. He's changing with the progression with his lead work. When you have the key to any basic progression, it means that you can just use the shapes that you know in that particular key and play lead for the whole song, just staying in one shape, because you are in the key of the composition and it's never going to sound bad. Whereas when you start to explore the fretboard a little bit more and you get used to your shapes, it means that you can start to venture into the shapes of the other chords that are being played, but then return back to the key that you started in and then blend it all together. And this is exactly what's happening here. So as an example, we've got the same progression going on that I've just shown you, but when Brad gets into his lead work, he starts playing with the chords rather than just staying in the key of the song. So we've got this A, E, A. Stay on the A, E. And we've got that kind of thing going on. So there I broke off into a little run of 16th notes, which is what Brad can just throw in there at a drop of a hat. But we were in E, and I know that it's not going to be E, it's going to be F sharp because of the capo, but pretend this is the bottom of the guitar. So we're in E, and the notes that we played were while the E was being played underneath. So it means that Brad has changed key of his lead playing in order to throw together a run that is very fast, and it's only happening for a short period of time, but he did flip over into a shape that's played in E and not A. And then when we get back into A, he's gonna switch back to A. I don't want this to be confusing, so I'm gonna try and explain it in a more simplistic way. Obviously playing 16th note runs can be confusing because it's just too fast to take everything in. But if we're now taking into consideration this capo is making this B rather than A, as we referred to it before, our B shape in a bar chord form is here on our 7th fret. So if you're playing through a simple run or a simple line, a classic line that we actually have in this song as well, this just staying in that bar chord shape, just bar down your 3rd finger. You want to try and relate this to your bar chord all the time, because wherever your bar chords are, you can just flip straight into this little run or a little fill. It's a little line you'll hear all the time. But once you've got this down, it means that when you're playing the rhythm, you can start to throw it in, and you know what it relates to. It relates to your chord. So once we know it relates to the chord, it means that when we then change chord, you just have to move to wherever that chord would normally be played as a bar chord and play the same fill. So starting on the B, we jump down to an F sharp, and the F sharp is where the capo is. That would be your 1st finger, and the other fingers would play the E shape like that. But because we don't want to make it more difficult than it is, you can just play the same fill there. If I'm playing that exact same fill that I just played in B, so you can play it down there. So piecing that all together, it means that if you totally forget about the rhythm side of things, you can come up with a simple lead line that you can start to move to where your chord positions are. For example, in this progression, we start on that B. So you start here, and then we shift down to the F sharp, and then we go back up to the B again. So you can start to throw that in. And you've got a nice fill lead line that's going to fit over the chord that you're playing, and you're used to moving from one chord to the next, or at least the position, and then playing that little lead line, that little fill. Just continuing that progression, we've got the B, F sharp, and now E, F sharp, B, E, B, F sharp, and then into the B again. So that's where it finishes, and then the progression will start again. I don't want this video to go on for too long or put too much information in it because it can be confusing, but in a nutshell, what's happening is Brad is playing lead shapes and lead notes in the chord positions rather than just staying, for example, in B for the whole composition. He's moving around, and this is what the great players can do. They just change with the chords underneath, and this is why you can get so many interesting lines being played and so many 16th note runs, because once you start opening yourself up to the other chords, then there are a lot more notes to be found. As a final example, I'm just going to play along with the song, just moving from position to position, not worrying about playing rhythm, but just this little lead line or something very similar, so you can see how it moves around. Hopefully you guys will be able to hear the guitar over the microphone, because I've had to change the inputs in order for you guys to hear the original audio from the video, but we'll see how we get on.
Start with it.
And there we have it. Hopefully that kind of made sense. I couldn't really hear the backing because of the volume of my guitar, and it was very quiet coming out the speakers, but it might sync up so you guys start to get a little bit of an idea of what I mean with just moving with the chords, playing a little bit of lead, and that is your entry point really for starting to play lead and following chords. So hopefully that made a little bit of sense if you do play the guitar. And it's something that you can experiment with, or you can maybe mark it for later on in your learning cycle that you're going through at the moment. But it's great to have that ability to move to a particular chord, play a little lead line in that particular shape, and then move back to the key of the song. You can sound great just playing pentatonic shape 1 with the blues scale, throwing in a few major notes as well, just in the key of the song. As long as you can get some expression in there, that's what it is all about, and just enjoy the way that you play. Thank you guys so much for suggesting this video for me to take a look at, and keep those suggestions coming in the comments below. Let me know what you guys think, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the next one. Rock!